Hello, Pascal. How are you?
Hello, hello.
We have some music. Very nice.
Yes,
So zen.
yes, Zen. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm just trying to finish the newsletter.
Oh,
It's about the time. Is that I would say a machista joke? Is that time of the month? For me, it's the time of the month. We're finishing it at the end.
okay.
Yeah.
Ah,
And how are you?
I'm fine. Let me, I need to work on my English.
Oh, you've been doing Deutsch?
Yes, jawohl.
Oh.
Okay. So. It's fine.
cultivate and grow.
Hello, hello, Alice.
Hello. Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Hello.
You can see my screen, right?
Yes, you have the main
Yes.
page.
Yep.
I'm posting something quick and then there you go. Everybody's informed. Hello, Alice. How are you?
Hello, I'm great. Thank you. How about you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thank you. Where are you located?
I'm located in Turkey, but
Oh,
I work here and I'm Chinese.
Ah, very
well,
nice.
okay. Mhm.
Yeah.
When you say I work here, you mean I work in Turkey.
Yeah, I work in Turkey.
Okay. Mhm.
Ah, yes, I see you before. Yes, in
Probably in
Tirana,
Albania.
in
Tirana.
Albania. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
so bad
yeah.
with names, but faces I'm much better. Like the one who just joined in, I think I
Yeah.
saw that guy before.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
no way.
Only
How are
one
you,
time,
Lord?
right?
Although actually, surprisingly, in person it was only one time. In person it was only in Turin.
It's true. It's true.
Because I couldn't make it to Albania. My flights were canceled.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you connect with people that you don't know if you hug them once and it's enough for the next 10 years.
Yeah, yeah. Well, naturally, we do work a lot together, and we'll see him in Malta. So
Yes. Are you going to Malta, Alice?
I'm not going this time.
oh.
What about you? All of you?
You going to Malta, Pascal, right?
Oh.
Pascal.
What is this?
No.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
can join online. I guess we will have
Uh,
some workshops.
yeah.
The
I think in the meantime there is even something on Saturday.
But
But
Saturday is a contest day, right? We can see contest, but the keynote speaker we cannot, right?
Correct. Only contests, they'll be live streamed.
Mhm.
They'll be, I believe you have to pay 20 euros for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see.
Interesting.
Also, I will be here only briefly today. I do have to leave in a couple of minutes.
No, it's okay.
Yafit knows why.
Hey,
Or
Jafit.
probably can understand why I'm leaving in a few minutes.
Oh, you have
Hello.
something from club there. Hello, Jafit.
Oh, it's not a club.
Hello.
It's it's a holiday here. So yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
We celebrate. We celebrate today.
Well, celebrate. It's hard to say we celebrate these past years or two.
But what
True,
happened?
but
Now
we
you
need
need to tell me
but we
what
need to
happened.
celebrate.
Yes,
Don't you
it's
think?
Independence Day. It's Independence Day.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's huge fires today as well right now, so it's actually
yeah.
like really.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my camera is off because I'm walking.
Okay.
In the rain, that all of a sudden it started raining.
Okay.
Wow, that's commitment.
And
Cleansing.
Nestor, you would love it.
it's hot.
I am going back from tango lesson.
From tango.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
learning tango too.
Who's that?
Wow.
Me too,
Who's
Alice.
speaking? I can't see you.
In Istanbul, I'm learning from here. Yes.
That's so
Wow.
nice.
Mm.
No.
I said
Where are you
Nestor
located in? Where are you located?
in
Which
Israel.
country?
Israel.
Israel. It's also a popular tango class there.
Yeah, not much. Most people go to salsa.
Yeah, salsa.
Yeah.
Salsa bachata.
Bachata.
Salsa is more popular, but
Yes.
tango it's its own world. I didn't know in Singapore it was popular.
I don't know.
You lived in Singapore or?
I didn't. Who lived in
I don't know why
Singapore?
Yafit mentioned Singapore.
think-
Didn't you say Singapore? What did you say? Sorry.
Ah,
Turkey,
Istanbul,
Turkey,
Istanbul.
Istanbul,
Turkey.
Istanbul. Okay. Istanbul is big.
Singapore, Istanbul.
No,
Okay.
I know
Oh, well,
that
yeah,
in
the rhythm.
Istanbul it's really big. I know.
Yeah. If you want, every night you can go to Milonga, but I'm not
I
going.
don't like milongas yet because I
Mhm.
don't dance so well. So I only go to classes now.
Same here. Every
Same.
1 hour, just I'm not
Yeah.
going to the parties.
Yeah. And I said Nestor because Nestor, I remember that in Switzerland they asked
Here
about.
is an epidemic. It's like COVID again with COVID with salsa, merengue, bachata, all of those everywhere.
Yeah.
It's like when I arrived the first 7 years ago, I was like, oh my God, a Latino guy in the middle of the Alps with Swiss people. And I began in train stations, promotions, everybody speaking Spanish. It was like, what is this?
Wow.
So you're right, Jafit. It's very famous here, salsa and classes.
Yeah.
Wow,
Salsa
good.
bachata. Yeah.
Laura, do you dance salsa?
No, I'm a swing dancer, and we have a.
Swing.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought you knew that about me, Yafit.
Yeah, you
Ipek.
mentioned it. You
Yeah.
mentioned. You mentioned.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
swing dance, and we're cousins to salsa because it's not a ballroom dance, right? It's a partner dance. But salsa I can still understand, like the music is good, but bachata, it's too much to me. It's
Oh,
like
God,
it's
yeah.
it's too like
Ah.
like
We have a phrase for that, but it will be offline. That we talk
yeah.
about it then
Hey, it's
later.
not being we're being
Yeah.
recorded. We're being recorded, so
it's
I'm
a little
definitely
bit
not saying
personal.
anything.
I
Intimate
need to
is
Google
the
now
right.
bachata how that works.
It's very intimate, but I do dance blues, and
Exactly.
blues is like the second most, maybe third after
Okay.
tango.
I agree.
Yeah, tango for our culture, I can say, even though Israeli culture is very open, it's very this, it's very difficult in tango. We're not like Argentinians who they just hug closely with
Yeah.
whoever, and it's
Yeah.
just nothing.
Dance. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But for us, it took me a long time to be like, okay,
Don't
and then
touch me that way.
off the record, every man is just gonna feel my boobs, and that's it.
We're still on the
You
record.
You have to. Because it's a chest with chest, like
Yeah.
sideways. If you're
Yeah.
not touching each other chest to chest, you will not feel the rhythm. So
Exactly.
you will be lost. Yeah.
So
At some point, you just dance with friends and it becomes like cooking a cake. It's like, yeah,
yeah.
part of it.
At
So-
that point, you're like, whatever, that's
Exactly.
it.
Yeah, but if it's
don't dance blues. Don't dance blues. It's like even more like after bachata, it's like the second most. It's like
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's true. It's very colloquial. It's very
yeah.
colloquial.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
So if I ever
Which is
get to
beautiful.
Turkey, I get in touch with Alice to go to.
Sure.
Yeah.
When you come here, contact with me, okay?
Okay.
I write my
Back, you're
number.
not?
I will write my number to you.
Okay, great.
Well, my lovely
Ipek,
people.
you don't dance?
Hello.
Hi, you don't dance?
I don't go to any dance classes, let's say, but I do dance on my own.
Ah, nice.
Yes, I like this like how can I say self dance? I don't know.
yeah.
Ah, you just put music at home and you dance?
Yes. I'm very comfortable that way. I mean, when I was a kid, I mean, I was like a Spice Girls member. That's another story.
Did you make a speech on that? That's Toastmaster.
Not
We make
yet.
a speech about everything.
That will be
Not yet,
lovely.
but I actually evaluated a speech last year in our contest. Reference
Okay.
About about dancing.
Dancing wasn't the major part of the speech, but Spice Girls was definitely.
Okay, cool.
Interesting.
I should make a speech on tango. I'm
Oh
planning on
yes,
it.
definitely.
Oh,
I
yeah.
still don't know how to do it, make it into a speech, but
It's so elegant. Hello, Francesca.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
hi, Francesca. We're in a class for dancing, so it's a support group for dancing.
Well,
I
that could
tried
be
I
a
tried
good
to teach her
project.
swing dancing in LA when we were there.
Oh God. Well, Malta, we can push the DJ to put some salsa, merengue, bachata, tango, and we all and bowls
And embarrass ourselves.
and embarrass ourselves.
Yeah.
That's
Pascal, do you dance?
Should I now strategically say no?
that
we and when we actually that's the reason why I'm together with my wife, because it was during the date that we decided to dance, and then she said, well, if we dance then we need to know each other a bit more, and since then we were a couple. So in 2011 we start to do dancing, and we went till gold, but I forgot almost everything. So yeah, but tango and salsa was also included. So yeah, and actually I loved it. Tango, I loved it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll tell you
I'm not
secret.
saying I'm good in it, but I loved it.
I'm also not good at it. I'll tell you a secret. I also started tango because of a man.
Oh,
Jafit. You told me Jafit. No.
What did I tell you, Nestor?
I think tango, the Latino music have an energy that you can dance with everyone and it's just dancing. But for other cultures, it feels so intimate at some point, but it is just dancing for us. That's the beauty of it.
I know. That's why you can do it. That's why you can do the close embrace without feeling weird.
Agree. And it's translated as well in the dialogue. Sometimes for the Swiss people, I kiss them 3 times here, three times, then hug them, and then look at them like with tenderness, like I'm so happy to see you. And for them, I'm invading their personal space like you don't have an idea.
Yeah.
I learn it with the time. But regarding that type of communications, which sometimes could be weird or strange, today we're going to learn a little bit more about how you're communicating. And I love this topic. Pascal, I think it's time for you to introduce yourself, tell us what you're going to talk to us, and guide us through the night. Thank you, Pascal.
Thank you, Nestor, also for the introduction. Nestor, I don't know if you're recording it or not. I'm just asking.
It is already.
It is already. Yes. If you can look, then it has some advantages. So good evening again, and yeah, it is a nice topic because it is also an important topic because it goes from how you actually can deal with each other better, how you understand each other more, but it's also about reflecting on yourself. And sometimes it's like little things. I remember that in 2016, I was unable to do a power nap. At noon, even if I was sometimes tired, I would lay down, but it was almost impossible to actually have this kind of a power nap. And if I had a power nap, after half an hour, I wake up and I was even more tired, and I had even a bad conscience from why I'm doing this power nap and why I did it. Now, working on myself, suddenly I found out that there was a belief system who came from my parents. I still remember when I was a kid, my father, if there was someone during the day sleeping, he always said to me, "Look at this guy, such a lazy guy. You're not allowed to sleep during the day." And this, without knowing, had actually an effect on how I related to this topic, power nap. And because of this, I also had, in a very unconscious way, I had a bad feeling, and I was actually not positive about doing a power nap. So the moment I understand that, the moment I understand where it came from and I worked on it, then suddenly afterwards, I could do a power nap without problems. I even loved it. And now if I feel that at noon or in the afternoon, I need some time, I just lay down, I very fast go sleep for 20-30 minutes, I wake up and I'm much more energized. So this evening, we're going to talk about where does emotions come from? Where does behavior come from? How to deal better with other persons? It's also going to be some interactive, of course, and I also want to have some time about question and answering and have some dialogue towards it. Now, emotions. We all have all kind of emotions, right? And as an interactive, just write down if you can. I mean, if you're walking, maybe it's a bit more difficult, but if you just cozy, sitting, standing behind your laptop, desktop, tablet, mobile, whatever what, then it is good, of course, if you also participate. So what is kind of an emotion that you see here? Just write in the chat.
See where do you mean?
Yeah, we
Sorry?
cannot see. Yes. Now.
Because I'm on the phone. Okay.
Okay. You see the slide with this woman? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I see.
Proud. Okay, proud. Thank you. Satisfied. Attentive. Yep, in the zone. Okay, cool.
Concentrating.
Concentrating. Yes. In the zone and the true. Okay, cool. Now we go to the second one. What do you feel about this? Fear. Yeah. Worry. Stress, anxious. Yep. Dated. Okay. We have 2 more to go. What is this? What do you associate with this kind of an emotion? Chill. Peace. Happy. Yeah. Content. Okay. Okay. And the last one. Worry. Yep. Grief. Okay. Okay, cool. Confused. Now, why do I ask you to answer this question? You see those images, for those who followed my last workshop, surprise, surprise, are all AI generated. So that means those are, of course, not real persons. That means theoretically there is no energy behind because it's just a combination of pixels which Midjourney made together. That means that we associated, we did not tap into the energy of the person because it's an AI picture, but we associated it with the body language of that person. That's the only thing we can see. We don't have paraverbal, we don't have verbal, so we only have the non-verbal communication here. And the interesting thing is that although that the answers were quite similar, they were different. And this already reflects that how you see things doesn't mean that it's the reality. It starts from how you actually look at it, and it also has a certain kind of a mirror. Because whatever we see from another person, it also reflects on what we think of and how we actually can connect with that. Now the question is, of course, we have all this kind of emotions, and we all have these emotions. Sometimes we're happy, sometimes we're afraid. If we tell that to other persons that we are afraid something, some people may say, oh my God, why is this person afraid of that? I have no issues with this. And then sometimes we are so confident and we are so authentic. And then another person is telling me, oh my God, how can you do that? How can you just be on stage and be so just authentic and have no worries and this and that? So again, everyone has, of course, other behavior patterns and belief systems, which makes that we react like we react. Now, I want to go a little bit deeper inside from why is that, right? Why do we react like we react? And one of the most important things to understand is actually where it comes from. Now, where does it come from? Our belief systems and behavior patterns. Although that things which happened if we are adults can, of course, influence our behavior patterns and belief systems, most of them are actually created in the first 7 years. And it is in the 7 years, and definitely in the first years, where we as a baby, we observe. It's the only thing we can do. We observe and we feel from our emotions what does it do with us. Now, we are not questioning when we are very small and little. We are not thinking from moment. If my father is now telling that this person is bad, or that woman generally, or this and that, is he correct or not? As a baby, we're not going to question this. As a baby, we take it for granted. As a baby, we see things, we listen to things, and then we see that as the truth. We see that and we take that as the truth of life. As the truth, like the whole universe, the whole planet, things like that. But again, it does not mean that it is something which is correct or incorrect. It is only from how that one parent sees it. And this parent is also, again, has some belief systems and behavior patterns, and also comes from, of course, from the assistants. So it is giving further and further, and you as a little child, you are taking this. You're also, of course, observing. For instance, if you see that your parents sometimes are fighting, then it can be that you conclude for yourself. I mean, it can be all kind of possibilities, depending how often they fight, what happened, what the consequences were, and so on. But it can be that you say from, okay, if, for instance, they are fighting, then at that moment you are thinking from, okay, parents, it's normal that parents fight. Can be one of the belief systems that you build up. And then for you, a relationship, one of the part is like you have conflicts and there is a fight. It also can be that's the opposite. It can be that you say, oh my God, they are fighting. It hurt emotionally. So definitely, if I'm in a relationship, I don't want to fight. I don't want to argue. Because argue means there will be conflict. Conflict means there will be a fight. And then, of course, based on all this kind of belief systems and behavior patterns, when we grow up, often unconsciously, we are actually taking up this. And if something happens, then we are thinking this will be the consequence, because our brain works in different patterns. And our brain is actually wants to be a bit lazy. So that means that our brain, if it recognizes something, then we automatically gonna think from, because we know this, we already have seen that. That means the consequences or the next step will be that and that. And we are not so reflecting anymore and saying from, oh, maybe even though I already knew that from the past, maybe the outcome will be a different one. And with this, we're also going to react, of course, and it's going to put us in a certain behavior pattern. Okay. So far, so clear? Yes? Okay. Now we go a little bit, yeah? Okay, yes. We go a little bit deeper and give me in the chat the 4 F reaction modes. Which F reaction mode do you know?
Flight 5. This one?
Yes, exactly.
5 flights. Freeze. I don't know the fourth one. Fear? No. It's not an action.
Yeah, so those 3 are already correct, right? And yes, 5 flight freeze. Correct. There's a third one as well, not so known, and this is called faun, right? Oh, yes, you have it, Alice. This is faun. This is the fourth one, right? And what does that mean, right? Well, you have here those 4 different ones. Now, the inner message, if you talk about fight, the inner message that you have, which is also again a behavior pattern, is I want to win. Because something happens and you're not agree with it, and actually you want to do something against it. So your thoughts, which is going on a deeper level, is I want to win. Flight is where you say at the moment, I want to get away from it. Freeze will mean that you actually are shocked, right? So I don't know what to do. This is the mode what you have. And faun, for those who don't know that exactly, faun means that you gonna on purpose say yes to that person, even though internally you want to say no. But because you're a bit people pleaser, you actually, and you don't want to have conflicts, you're gonna change your opinion based off what the other person wants, because actually you want to have peace. Yeah. So that is the internal one. It's like, I'm fine, I'm safe. And this is gonna happen inside of us. Later on, we're gonna go a little bit more in detail where it comes from, and also concerning the different personality types, which personality types normally goes in what kind of a direction. Okay. So Nestor also said, "Who am I?" Just in a nutshell, right? I'm 2 things. On the one hand, I'm a master in science, and I'm very data-driven personality. I was a C++ programmer and so on. I was a master in science, or I am a master in science, right? I made career. One of my belief systems, which I got from my parents, is you need to be very successful. This was something that my parents gave to me, or at least my father, and I followed that. And that's why on a quite young age, I was former vice president in a big company. But I also learned that something was missing, because success, financial success, and different role does not mean everything. Because since 2001, I was also active at another level. And that's why I decided to quit. And in the meantime, I'm a certified psychosocial consultant, which I'm also using that, of course, in companies, right? I'm a business consultant. And yes, I often hold this kind of workshops, which has to deal with communication, how we deal with each other, and so on. And yes, I'm an expert in dealing with toxic personalities, and I'm a speaker and a trainer. So this is a little bit in a nutshell. Let's go a little bit deeper, and let's go a bit more in practical way. What's communication? Because communication is one of the most important things, and how actually communication quite fast can be a miscommunication, and how we can change that quite easily. Now, who has heard from the 4 ears model? Maybe someone I already have heard. Yes, Nestor is nodding.
I heard, but I'm not sure we mean the same thing. I don't know.
Okay, you will find out later. Yeah, okay. Not sure too. Okay.
You mean the ears out, ears in, ears that, or no?
No, but maybe that's another way to look at it. But I mean, it's not the one I know. But let me know then afterwards if it's the same or not, right? Okay. So the four ears model is from Schulz von Thun. And it is from how we actually communicate and what is important to have a communication. Now, before we start, I give you a little example. What happened with me, again, cognitive, emotional, tactical. goes in the direction, but yeah, let's go to it. It's a bit different. Yeah. Oh, just testing out the icons. Thank you. Also, this is of course an AI picture, and yes, there were even the text inside, but of course in Photoshop I removed it. Otherwise, you would already know the 4 different ears. Yeah. Very clever, very nice. Let me come back. 2007. I just arrived as an expat in Germany in headquarters. It was in the middle of the winter. And me, I'm an early bird. So I arrived there at 6 o'clock in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, and I start working. Yes, I am that crazy. And each morning, even in the winter, each morning, a colleague is entering this big room and is opening the window. And not only one window, but 2 windows at 2 sides. And I'm so freezing. And I'm so pissed off on this woman saying, how can you in the middle of the winter open on 2 sides this kind of a window? I was a found person. I never spoke up. I never even mentioned it. I never asked to close the window. I just internally was burning, even though I was cold. And then hopefully I was saying, oh my God, when finally she gonna close the window? Mostly she closed the window the moment someone else came in and was much more authentic and much more assertive and says, can you please close the window or just close the window? And then I say, thanks God, this window is closed. Now, I did not know that did little thing what happened, but anyway, had a huge effect on me. I did not know that this had such an importance, and even when I do now workshops, to give it as an example. So I'm very thankful for that woman in 2007 that she did that, because now I'm using this example quite often, of course, in all kinds of workshops. And later on, I'm going to explain how now, if I do something in a workshop or if I do something where I meet people, how I do it differently. But we first go a little bit in the 4-ear model. So the 4-ear model means that you have 4 things that you actually, with a situation, needs to talk about. The first one is what they call the factual ear. That means those are the facts. Now we have 2 examples here. One is the window, which is open. And the second one is something which is more Toastmaster related, of course. But start first with the first one. The factual ear, if you are the speaker, if you then finally speaks up, and you see the window is open, the factual ear will say, the window is open. Now, if you say that the window is open, and you try not to change your paraverbal, that means that you're not putting any emotion on it, and you just say the window is open, which is quite difficult not to put any emotion in it. But assume you can. If you say that, and if that is the only message that you send to the receiver, then the only thing the receiver can do is interpret. What does he mean with that? Right? I say the window is open, which is an interesting conclusion, but it's because, yes, the window is open. I also see. So? Question mark? And then it's going to start, of course, and this is how we do. We're not questioning each thing from someone else. We're not always saying, oh, now I'm a coach and I need to question things. No, and in the normal life, we just start to interpret things. And we're going to, of course, because it's the only phrase that we get, we're going to start listen in detail, or we're going to repeat in our brain, and we're going to think, okay, what was the paraverbal, what this person said? And if I said, oh, the window is open, or I said, the window is open, then there's, of course, already a difference. Right? If I say, oh, the window is open, that means I'm happy with it. If I say the window is open, means most probably I'm not happy with it. But again, this is an interpretation because we are just based on everything we know, what we related with voice, tonality, and so on, which is in our brain, what we remembered, because we only have a very small amount of information, we're going to assume things. Okay? Just guessing. Okay, yeah, fine. So that's the first thing. The window is open. Now we go a little bit more in detail from something which is more Toastmaster related. The second thing is you did not take over a role tonight. Okay. If I say that to a member, you did not take over a role tonight, what do I want to say with that? Is it good? Am I happy because this member never takes a role serious and cannot execute a role? Maybe. Or am I frustrated because someone is not taking over a role tonight? The person or the member needs to guess because I'm not telling, right? I'm just saying you did not take over a role tonight. The thing is that in communication, and if you start to observe persons, you will notice that quite often the only communication that we do is this one, factual ear. It's only saying a very partial from actually what we want to say. What we really want to say, we are not mentioning it. We are just saying a part of it. And that means that there is a huge chance, of course, that there is a miscommunication because the other side need to guess. And if the other side need to guess, the chance is high that they guess wrongly. So that's why if we have a good communication, we need to add other ears. We have 4 ears. We only discussed 1 ear, the factual ear. The second ear that we need to include, if we have a good communication, is what we call the self-revealing ear. That means that it's about from what does the speaker reveal about themselves. Okay? It's about actually what you feel about it with this situation. Coming back to the window, it can be different. It can be that you say, I'm cold. I feel physically uncomfortable right now. It also can be that actually the message is what you want to say, what you reveal about yourself. I don't want to close it myself. I value your help can also be. I trust. I'm telling that to you because I trust you, because I appreciate you. That's why I'm telling that to you, right? I'm annoyed. You didn't notice can also be. There is that means that you explain what is actually happening with you. You're self-revealing yourself. You're showing your what's the reason behind and how you feel, your emotions, right? Okay. What could that be? Write it in the chat if we come to the second one. And you cannot take over a role, or you did not have taken over a role tonight. What could there be the self-revealing ear? What could that be? Write in the chat, please. So you see here the example from an open window. The self-revealing could be, I'm cold, I value your help, I'm annoyed you didn't notice. What could it be if you talk about you did not take over a role tonight? That's true. Sadly, I did not. Okay. Yes, but that is an answer. So here it's more about what the speaker is telling, what's behind. Okay. So it is because just saying you did not take over a role tonight, this is just information with nothing, right? It's just a sentence. Yeah. I give you an example to go in the direction. One of the possibilities could be that you say from, you are actually a person which I really appreciate, or you inspire me always. So why haven't you taken over a role? Because you're doing it always great, taking over this role, right? That could be something what you say about the self-revealing. Yeah. I expect you will take over a role. Yes. Yes. It goes in the direction. I didn't take a role because I'm tired. Okay, that's the opposite. Yeah. That's the answer.
So who is talking? The person who wants you to take a role or doesn't want you to take a role?
Yeah, the person who. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it is. In this example, it's about from the person who noticed that you haven't taken over the role needs to give more explanation, right? And what could that be? More explanation about that. Yeah. Yes, Nestor. Facts plus feelings.
Maybe we can ask, what do you mean I didn't took a role tonight?
Sorry again. Maybe you can ask.
Maybe I can ask, what do you mean I didn't took a role tonight? It's quite
yeah,
obvious.
But again, you're again at the answer, at the person who got this information. Here it is about when you convey a message, what kind of informations that you need to add into the phrases so that the receiver don't need to guess. If you just say you did not take over a role tonight, I'm not explaining what my feelings are. I'm not explaining from something about me, what I feel about it, that you haven't taken over a role. If I say I'm disappointed you did not take over a role, then you know more how I feel. If I say I'm happy you did not take over a role tonight, which also can be, you know what I feel more. Okay? Yes, exactly. You didn't take on a role, I'm disappointed. So here there are some examples. I'm disappointed. Yeah? I care about this club, expected more involvement. I'm stressed. I feel overwhelmed because no one is helping me. Yeah? I'm stressed because you didn't take over a role tonight. I value your contribution. I really believe you're important. Yeah? I value your contribution. That's why I'm shocked you did not take over a role tonight, because mostly you do. I feel let down. I thought we were together in it. So it can be different. Yeah. B, I hope to see your contribution. Yeah. So this is more. Ipek, what do you want to say with this?
Actually, I didn't explain it, but
okay.
Like this phrase seems more non-emotional, let's say, because we earlier talked about like tiredness, disappointment, etc. So this is more neutral.
It is. You're right. This is more neutral. Yes.
Maybe for some cases it works better because maybe the other person tries to defend himself or herself. I don't know. So if you don't want to deal with that kind of conversation, maybe this will be the neutral one. But I don't know. What do you think about it?
Yes, value is maybe not an emotional one. We could change that in I love your contribution. I'm always happy about your contribution. That would be more emotional what you put in. So yeah, thank you for the feedback. Yeah. So that is a self-revealing ear. That means that you explain what is actually happening, how you feel, and what were actually your emotions by the action that the other one has done or not done. Okay. Then we have the relationship ear. The relationship ear is, how does the speaker view me? What is the relationship between us? Yeah. So that is the information that you actually give. For instance, you think I should have noticed your cold. Yeah. You expect me to take care of you, of the environment. You may not trust me to act without being told. So that means that you're talking about how you feel, how this relationship between two persons is. Okay. If you talk about going to this role tonight, you see me as less committed. You think I'm unreliable or passive. You might be blaming me subtly. So it's about actually a level deeper where you talk about the relationship with each other. Yes, Nestor?
I just have a note, and it's great that you mentioned this because at the beginning we have the factual ear. And because language translations and even cultures have different approach.
Yes.
Some people will expect just to say, "Ooh, the window is open." Stating facts is not communication. So neither the relationship ear, it's communication. It's like expecting from others something, do not communicate. That's very difficult. And I think here in Toastmasters in the district, I think that's happening a lot. A lot of people are stating facts, or because they has been working together before, they think that is expectation of some things to happen. That's what I think this is very interesting, because the communication is a bundle, like you mentioned, the 4 ears. And I want to stress that for the recording so that people see the value on it, because stating facts, it's not communication, and just expecting something because you have a relationship with a person is not communication either. Thank you very much. I really love this. I'm taking notes for my own life.
And thank you also for mentioning it, because yes, even in Austria, at the beginning we had difficulties because quite often in Austria they are not explaining what's behind. And they even, some phrases are used where you don't know what it means. If someone in Austria, in Vienna, okay, other regions of Austria is different again. If someone in Vienna is telling you, I'm going to call you next week, this can be everything. I'm going to call you next week can be, I'm literally going to call you next week. I'm going to call you next week can also be, I never ever want to do with you anymore and I'm never going to call you. So, and if then the person is not calling, you know there is something, but most probably in Austria, they're not going to explain what's happening. It can be that something came between, it can be that they need to discuss something, that they haven't taken a decision, whatever it is. And then it's about how to learn to communicate to get this information. Quite often you get the communication if you know the friend of, because the friend is explaining why this person haven't called you back. Because this friend also knows it, but you don't know it, but through the friend you then know what the real reason is. Okay. Yeah.
It's like the famous, when you're in the meeting and people says, "Oh, that's a great idea. Let's think about it."
Yeah. It can be in a culture that say that was the worst idea I ever heard. Yeah. Yeah. Can be. Yes. So yes, intercultural, you still have another layer to add, of course. Right? And then we have the 4th ear, and the 4th ear is the appeal ear. That just means you clearly say what you actually want to have, what to do. So with the open window, it can be, please close the window. Call to action. What do you want to do? Pay attention to my comfort. Let it stay open, right? In the summer, oh yeah, thank God the window is open, right? Keep it open. For you didn't take a role tonight, it can be, please sign up next time. Get more involved, take responsibility. It's okay. Yeah? Thank you for just being here. Can also be that you just noticed that this person did not take over a role, but that you're still super happy that this member is there. Whatever it is, but you need to mention it. Okay. So the ideal phrase in total, instead of saying you didn't take a role tonight, an ideal phrase would be, I noticed you didn't take a role tonight, and I felt a bit stressed trying to fill all the spots. I really value your presence in the team. Would you be open to take a role next time? And there you have the 4 ears inside, right? You have the factual ear, which is there. I noticed you didn't take a role tonight. You have the emotion, which is there, right? So the self-revealing. I felt a bit stressed trying to fill all the roles. Then it's also about the relationship, what you mentioned, how we are together. I really value your presence. And then it's the call to action, right? So it's the appeal ear, where you say, would you be open to take a role next time? And if you do this, the difference is, if you say this, then the person on the other hand does not need to interpret anymore because you have said everything actually what you want to say. That means that for a conflict situation, or the possibility that there is a conflict is reducing. Okay, the same with the open the window, right? It's like, I'm feeling a bit cold because the window is open, didn't want to close myself without asking, would you be mind helping with that? Okay, or can you please close the window? Yeah. Now, another thing that I do, if I'm the person who now opens the window, which quite often happens in a workshop, also in the winter, because if in the winter I'm entering a room after 20, 30 participants are sweating in the room, then after the toilet break, it's like, oh my God, what is that here for a nice smell in this room? So I want to open the window. Now, most of the time, there are still some participants in the room. What I want to avoid is I want to avoid that a person gets pissed off of me. Now, it can be in the winter, if I open the window, that a person after 2 seconds will be pissed off. Because I reflect on myself, I was pissed off in 2007 if someone opened the window in the winter. But from the energy-wise, I need to open the window. So to make sure that I don't get an escalation or someone gets pissed off for something which is actually not important, but on the other hand important, you understand me? I'm going to say to the persons who are still in the room, is it okay that I just open the window for 1 minute to get some fresh air? That's it. Yes, it is a rhetoric question. There is no one till now who said, no, no, it's not okay that you open the window 1 minute. Never ever have I this answer, right? That would be a challenging answer though. Then I would start argumenting and say, okay, can I open it then for 30 seconds or whatever what? But no one is argument normally on that. Why? Yes, I see it, Alice, directly. Why? Because, why is no one argumenting? Because you're taking away the fear from those who will have cold. Because I mentioned I only gonna open the window for 1 minute. Where the persons who get cold very fast gonna reflect and say, okay, that's fine, for 1 minute I can live with that. And if you explain that you want to have fresh air, then everyone is reflecting, saying, oh yeah, after 3 hours of 20 people in the room, yeah, it can be good if there is some fresh air. But then, of course, after 1 minute, you need to close. You cannot wait 10 minutes and then someone get pissed off because you promised someone after 1 minute. Alice.
Yes. I have a question. Like this 4-year method is quite good, but in which scenario, for example, sometimes with our closest friend or family, sometimes when we use this 4-year method, can it be a little bit feeling too formal, like distance, like, oh, we are already very close, why you don't say just close the window or close the door. Instead of that, it's oh, I feel blah, blah, blah. Would you please mend? You got what I mean?
I got what you mean. And why good question, and thank you. And why you don't need to include the other ears? Because you even said the answer, they know you. And because they know you, they know why you say things. So that's why you don't need to, answer, that's why you don't need to include then all the ears. Because if you know that you're a person who's always supportive, then they know that the next phrase, if you tell that it has a supportive background. If you know that they respect you, then they already know the relationship here. You don't need to mention the relationship here. Okay?
Okay.
But on the other hand, even with my wife, which we are married in the meantime 10 years, even in a partnership relationship and you know each other very well, even though there's quite a lot of conflicts. So it's not bad at all to also add some of the other communications to try to reduce the conflict potential. But as long as it goes well, you don't need to include all the ears. Katja, I think Katja was first, right? And then Ipek. Yeah.
Hello. First of all, sorry because I was a little bit late, but I'm preparing a lunch for tomorrow, 22 people at my home.
Oh.
Because it's my daughter communion, the first communion. So I'm cooking. By the way, it was really interesting.
Can I stop you? Can I stop you? Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny. Actually, it's a beautiful. It's like if it would be a script, Katja, then that would be like an excellent script where everything happens in the communication. Now, let me explain that this is really live on stage, no hidden camera. Okay. Have you noticed that Katja have included different ears to explain why she was late? She said why she was late, what's gonna happen. She apologized. She gave with that a certain of respect towards me. She said that normally between lines, I'm interpreting now. She said, normally I'm not late, but because I have a huge dinner, lunch tomorrow with 20 people, then I'm late. I'm sorry about that and this and that. So actually, without knowing, you included some of the ears. Now, even the second thing, and that's why it's like a perfect script without scripting it. I said, Katja, can I stop you? Have you seen how her face changed? Because I haven't included the ears. I haven't explained why I want to stop her. So she was thinking from why I cannot continue talking. What have I done wrong? Correct or not correct?
But actually, in this workshop was quite a bit suspicious that you were stopping me just for the workshop itself. No, thank you for that. But I was thinking that I say something wrong, actually.
Exactly what I mentioned. Because I did not use the 4 ears. I just said, can I stop you? I did not explain why. If I would have explained, Katja, such a beautiful example. Can I use now this example to explain what you just mentioned for the 4 ears, and then you continue with your question? That would be a complete different thing as I will stop you. So, Katja, please continue. I hope you still remember your question, though. Yeah.
It was just a feedback because I agree with the person that sometimes when we are in our family and we give for guarantee others, we use something that at the end is not really respectful. And this kind of, reflection is very useful because we need to come back sometime and also rephrase our words, or maybe also change, the face, because maybe when I ask to my kids, close the door, it's something like, do it now. But just because, and then maybe it's better to say, also close the door, but in a different way, in a different, expression also from face. So
Yes. And on the other hand, thank you for the feedback. And on the other hand, we are all just humans, right? I mean, sometimes if we yell at our kids or something like that, there is a reason behind, right? Maybe it's a huge stress day. Maybe they did it already 20,000 times and now it's finally time that they stop, or whatever it's behind, right? And of course, in an ideal world, we always use the 4 ears and it's beautiful phrases, but in the reality, of course, it's sometimes from, why we deal like we deal, right? Which actually goes to one of the next slides, which I still want to do, and it's about triggers. I just want to explain, because this is one of the things which actually you can work on the most. This when I go back and I reflect on my life, I was in the past, I was a stressed workaholic. And in the meantime, I'm only a workaholic and I'm working on that. But at least the stressed part I could reduce quite a lot. And at the end, it is just about reflecting yourself and trying to find out why I am triggered of something. And in the past, I was triggered from a lot. If one person was standing in front of me at the queue, at the airport, at the business line, I already was stressed. And if then that person was asking 2 questions, and even though I'm 1.5 hours in forehand in the airport, but I wanted as fast as possible to go in the business lounge, and I was so frustrated that this one person had 1 question. If you just look at it outside, it's so funny and it's so ridiculous, because who cares if I'm sitting 1 hour and 10 minutes in the business lounge or 1 hour and 5 minutes in the business lounge? There is no difference at all. But it is like we sometimes get triggered from something. And it does not need to be it's right that you get triggered or it's wrong that you get triggered. No, the fact is you get triggered from something. You get triggered if a member colleague is laughing during a presentation. You get maybe triggered if someone is such a good speaker and you have the feeling you're not such a good speaker. You maybe get triggered if someone is not taking over the role. You maybe get triggered if someone gets 1 minute too late in the meeting. How can this person be 1 minute too late? This is unrespectful, even though you have no clue why this person is 1 minute late. We all have this kind of triggers. And if you start to noticing, like, this is like one, I wouldn't say challenge, but it's like a call to action. Maybe tomorrow is not an ideal day because it's the 1st of May and in a lot of countries it's a holiday. But during a normal working day, observe yourself. What are the things you get triggered of? And try to write them down and try to find out what is really the reason behind. And then the ones who occur the most, then try to find out what do I need to do to change that. So where does it come from? And once you know that, then you have a possibility to actually change that. Now I go a little bit in detail in the cycle, right? The cycle of triggering. So what happens? Trigger. Something happens. Let's stick to that one thing. A member arrives 1 minute too late. You get triggered. Why this member comes 1 minute too late? I'm always in half an hour before on time. How can this person be 1 minute too late? So what's going to happen with you because you get triggered? Well, internally, the biology of stress, your heartbeat gonna increase. Your symptoms in your body gonna change. Your blood pressure is gonna change. And then you have 2 possibilities. What do you do with it? You and only you can make the decision. You can go in one direction, right? Which is negative feelings. You are pissed off on that person because he's 1 minute too late. And it's always the same. Each second week, he's 1 minute too late. And what's happening, you're actually creating more stress for yourself. Because you go in the negative feelings. It's your decision. Yeah? Yes, something happens, but you decide how you react on it. So you get stress. Now, cool thing about stress is you're even increasing the biology of stress. Yeah! So your blood pressure is even going higher. That means you go even in a victim mode, right? You start to think from, he's doing it on purpose because he knows that I don't like it, right? So you're even making conclusions which maybe are completely wrong, but you put yourself in a victim mode. Yeah? Or you even are saying from, why I am always 30 minutes earlier? Because if someone else is 1 minute too late, I'm waiting already half an hour. So you're actually going to yourself and you're even then sabotaging yourself and blaming yourself what is happening, victim mode. And then something happens, right? It can be the 4F, what we discussed. So it can be that you fight, yeah, that you say, why you're 1 minute too late? Yeah? Or that you flight, yeah, that you just ignore that person. Yeah, or that you freeze, you're not saying anything, yeah, or your phone, you even say, oh, you are there, yeah, and internally you're boiling, so you're using then one of the four F's what we discussed before. And then the interesting thing is this goes of course in milliseconds. This is continuing. And you even and sometimes, I mean, I'm as a coach, I'm helping some of clients. Sometimes if an email comes in, which is like a bad email from a supplier, colleague, whatever what, it can be that this email is bothering you for hours. You are in this cycle for hours. It's your decision. The email is there. You decide how you deal with this email, right? But you are sabotaging on a certain way for yourself for hours. Now, what's happening after a certain time, you need to go out of it. We learned as babies as well, by crying and this and that, we learned to break this pattern at a certain moment. And then most of the time, we give ourselves a reward. Now, a reward can be something positive, a reward can be something not so positive. Some of the rewards is from, okay, now I need a piece of chocolate to calm down. Now I need a cigarette, I need a coffee, I need whatever what, right? So quite often after a stressful situation, we give ourselves a reward. This is how we function. There is also another possibility. We can decide after we have seen that this person is 1 minute too late, we can decide to say, okay, I just noticed that this person is 1 minute too late. And we stay in the positivity. And then, ideal, we tap on our shoulder. We also have a reward. I would suggest not to have a reward which is a drug. So each time you do something positive, I would not suggest drink a glass of wine, because then your brain gonna collect a glass of wine with positivity, and yeah, it's not so good. But then you just give a thank you, Nestor. Then you just give a clap on your shoulder and say, oh, amazing how I did, and how I did not went in the negativity, but just stay calm. That is already a good reward. Okay, so and then it goes in the cycle, and then this trigger is gone, right? You have now a couple of possibilities to actually break this circle. One is avoid the trigger, right? So if something triggers you, sometimes you can avoid. The opposite, if you are late, well, by avoiding all the triggers is you're not late anymore, right? You just start going earlier, and then you're not stressed if the subway just passed, if you just on the red light or whatever what, right? You also can, if you drive too late and you are in this mode, you just can say, okay, how can I handle this situation? Then you call the person and say, sorry, I'm going to be 5 minutes too late. And then the person say, no problem. And then your trigger is also gone, right? Then you stopped it, right? So sometimes you can avoid this trigger by not doing it, right? So by just making action so this is not happening. Okay. Second thing is break the pattern, and this is the one of the things that the moment you start reflecting and you say, I am in this circle, it's about as fast as possible, break this pattern and go to that and directly go to the reward. And then you directly go in the positivity, of course, right? So it's like, instead of being 2 hours in this mode, it's like 5 minutes. Okay, this email came in, I got it, I got stressed, I decide to actually calm down. This evening I'm gonna read again, and then I'm gonna answer it. Okay, thank you, I continue, right? Or you just answer if you can, yeah? If you're not too emotional, then you just take a couple of deep breaths, if it's not too emotional, and then you answer, and then it's gone, right? So you just break the pattern as fast as possible. The ideal way is, of course, that you even don't go in this negativity, and that you just go through it, right? This is actually something which is one of the best. Let me see. I want to finalize with one. Oh, you can see now everything. This is not what I wanted to do. So let me share one screen, one thing. Okay, then we finish this. Tick. Let me share again. Where am I? Zoomy. Okay. Yes. So here there is, I believe that it's not fake, right? And because it's a bit older. In 2025, I would say most probably it's fake because 99% of things you see in the meantime in YouTube and everywhere, it's just scripted and it's just fake to get some likes and so on. All right. But here you can actually see the whole action, what happens, and how this person is dealing with it. All right. I hope the voice is not too loud. Let's see. Let me know if it's too loud or too... Okay. So what happens now? She drops the cake. I would call it a stressor. Most probably it's a cake she made herself, and it turned around and flew on the ground. So you can see now she's in the completely this mode, in the stressor and victim mode, and everything is going inside what we just discussed within milliseconds. And as I mentioned, only you can make the decision what is your reaction to this situation. Let's continue. She's still pissed off. She's trying to reduce the damage. She's still in the victim mode, blaming herself, but she's already going into positivity. And she's changing her attitude. And only she can change the attitude. No one else. Now she's going the acceptance mode and having fun about herself, about her own behavior, right? And this is actually, if you start doing this and if you work on that, then your life will be much, 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 much better and much easier because you're not taking things so personally anymore. So I want to continue or finish with people can drive you crazy unless you give them the keys. Okay. With that, we still have some time, maybe, I don't know, for some questions, if you have some questions about this little workshop, about why we do what we do, and why we behave like we behave.
I would like to have a comment regarding the facts, what I want, the relationship tone when I do the message, and then the call to action. It's kind of like a sandwich approach when you do an evaluation.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was kind of familiar with that. I was like, oh, that's good. Until you mentioned triggers. Triggers, for me, it disrupt the whole structure when you're in the situation. Because you forgot to tell them the real emotions. Then you use the relationship to attach the call to action. So if the person should know how hard I work on it, I'm gonna let them know how hard I feel. And it becomes a circle. And then when you mention the victim, it's just like, oh, that's how the victim fits himself through the trigger. For me, it's been quite interesting that you mentioned that because it's a full circle on it.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, and the moment, I mean, I'm an expert in dealing with toxic personalities, right? So I'm dealing quite often with victims of narcissistic personalities in relationships and in the office. And the moment you become stable, the moment you're not in this triggering victim mode anymore, the moment you start speaking on a gentle but firm way towards a person with a toxic behavior, that's the moment that they don't have control over you anymore. And that's the moment where you suddenly comes on a certain level and where communication starts to be on a different level. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying you can do it from one day to the other. But there are some possibilities, and that's why it's important to understand. If you get triggered, most of the time there is a reason in the childhood which remind you of a situation where something happened. So if you do that away, through family constellation, to counseling, whatever, if you do that away, then you're not going to be triggered anymore. And that's the beauty of it, right?
I think Jafid would like to add something because it's very related to nonviolence communication. It's the way that you react, have a feedback, and if you want a response, you have to be some point kind of neutral. Is that kind of what it will be nonviolence?
Yeah, you be neutral. You be yes. So you're emotionally stable. That's the most important thing. Yeah. The moment you're emotionally stable and very authentic and very firm in what you say, then you directly de-escalate the whole situation. Yeah. Yes. There is one part which I haven't mentioned because of time-wise, right? But what is also very important is the whole personality types. Maybe the one or the other has heard about it, but DISC is one of them. Yeah, dominance, influence, steady, compliant. And it's very interesting also to reflect what am I for type and what the other person is for a type. Because in communication, you need to speak the language what the other person understands the best. If the other person is a data type person and you only come with feelings, then you're never going to come to a consensus because you're not talking about the same language. This also quite often happens between man and woman, right? The woman is explaining, the man wants to give a solution, but the only thing the woman wants is to be heard. Heard, not hurt, right? Yeah. It's the only thing what the woman wants to have at that moment. She don't want a solution. Right? She wants that, oh, I feel with you, right? I feel with you that it's a bad situation for you. Come, I give you a hug. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You know, and if you start talking from, oh yeah, but have you thought about this and that? This is not what they want to hear at that time, right? Because they don't want a solution. They just want to express their emotions. That's it. Yeah. So, and it's very important if you start noticing that, then you can change, of course, little by little, how you react, and then it comes to another communication, right? Yeah. It's of course very broad because sometimes I give like 2 or 3 days of workshops about this kind of topics, right? It's like with the dominant personality, you deal differently. Then it depends, of course, in what is situation. Yeah, so, but it is learning how to be more rhetoric and to change your communication. And actually, Toastmasters is a very beautiful platform to do because with each table topic, you learn to be much more on the point, which also can help you, of course, in solving conflicts or dealing with other persons with a different communication style. Okay, questions?
Yes, so when you say you're triggered, is it a thought? So is it to deal with the triggers? Is it a thought that you say to yourself, oh, it's not so bad? Or like, what is the process that you do?
Oh, good question. It is working on different levels, though. You can work on an unconscious level where you remove that part so you don't get triggered anymore. That's one of the things. On the other hand, you also can learn how to see yourself from a meta level. Sometimes we have that if we have like a conflict, then quite fast we go in a meta level and we even laughing on ourselves, looking at ourselves, right? So sometimes it helps if you just visualize yourself having this discussion with that other person from another level, which automatically will cool you down. Right? You also can use, of course, easy strategies by just if you notice that you're stressed. Normally your volume will go high, your speed will increase. your breath will be much more on the surface. So if you notice this on purpose, you can change that as well. By just taking a break, by speaking more slow, by reducing your volume, you actually automatically are calming you down as well. Right? It also can help that you ask yourself, what is the worst thing now happened? A subway just passed on and there is on the piece of table 5 minutes. So what happened now? What does that mean that I need to wait 5 minutes? And in the meantime, I'm on a certain level there. I say, okay, I just passed this subway. I see 5 minutes. Then I feel, what do I need at this moment? Am I tired? Am I a lot of energy? And depending of how my energy is, what I need, I react. If I'm tired, then I say, thank God, the subway passed. I now have 5 minutes to just a little bit meditate, to look just around, to just calm down from this busy day. If I have a positive energy and a very active energy and I'm in this mood, then I say, okay, what can I do in the 5 minutes? Oh, I listen to a podcast, I do some emails, I look in Facebook, I need to have joy, fun. Okay, I look a series on Netflix, whatever you do, right? And then check, 5 minutes are gone.
Okay. So practically you're saying is that check what energy you are at the moment when you're triggered, because that will contribute to get out of the trigger or be staying in the trigger.
No, that would be after the trigger.
After the trigger?
Yes, because in the trigger, I mean, your energy is not so good. So it's about making a decision from it's not bad. Yeah. So that's why you first can ask yourself, how bad is that? What's actually happening? And then you will laugh about yourself because most of the things are totally have no consequences at all, right? And once you notice, then you're down again. So you're not triggered anymore because you're laughing about yourself that you actually are triggered from something which is ridiculous, right? And then once you are in this state, then you start thinking from, okay, now how do I feel? What do I need at this moment for this 5 minutes, right?
Super, super. Alice, I saw you have your hand on. You still have a question?
Yeah, I just, according to the 4F you mentioned, is quite good. Then I realized myself, I'm mostly in the other 3F mode, except fight mode. Maybe I fight inside. But generally, I'm like flight or freeze or fawn. So I'm thinking like, what is my, and also your question is very good. What is your, observe yourself, what you get triggered. I couldn't find yet. Maybe later I can be more aware of that. So how do you find your triggers? Like, do you know what your triggers are?
Okay, yeah, I mean, your trigger is there where you get triggered, right? But to find out where it comes from, then you just can think of when was the first time this happened? Or what kind of emotions do I relate with that and why? Mostly there is a deeper emotion. It's like you feel unseen, you're disappointed, and then you go even deeper. Why am I disappointed about that? Okay, because I'm not valued, or the people, I think they are not valuing me. Okay, why they are not valuing me? Yeah. And then you go down and then you say from, oh, where does it come from? Oh yes, if I remember my father, he always said from you're not good enough or whatever what. And then you go more in the direction, this is where it comes from, right? It also can be that it's too traumatized, that it's too far away, that you don't come to it. It can be, right? I'm not saying each thing you just in 1 minute you solve. It's step by step, right? But the most important thing is that you start reflecting on those things, because the moment you reflect, the moment you understand, then you can change. And once you change it forever. So I would say like 80% of all the triggers are gone. I'm still triggered. I'm still a human. I still have some arguments with my wife. Yes, I'm not perfect. I'm not Zam. I'm not an ascended master. But 80% of the things is gone. And you cannot imagine what kind of a different life do I have. And you can notice that for little things, like lately I was in where was it? Yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay, yeah, I still remember. It was an event in Stockholm, and my mobile phone was a new mobile phone, was laying there on the table, and then there was someone who came there with a dish and suddenly it dropped on the whole table and also on my mobile phone, like my new mobile phone. And for me, I was just like observing it, and I saw that from okay, everything is spilled, and then there was like little gaps in this wood, and then I saw spilling it on my shoes, and I just moved a little bit my shoes, and I was like completely calm, right? And it was funny because in that afternoon I gave a keynote speech, which also had this kind of thing from Triggers Insight, right? And the people around me, they were yelling, they were really screaming, and they were completely shocked and triggered. And I was just sitting there and looking at it, interesting, everything. And it is at those moments that you realize how much you actually have changed, and for how little things you still get triggered, right? And then, of course, I took my mobile phone and say, okay, I need to clean it. Oh, it's still working. Thank God it's still working. Yeah. But I was like completely relaxed. I looked at my shoes. Oh, yeah, nice design. Now they have white spots on it. Okay, I'll clean a little bit. Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing how you see it.
Yeah. And I mean, Nestor, you know me, right? Sometimes
I would scream. I would laugh. I would have a full tantrum with myself. I would say my shoes, and at some point I will get in peace with it. But oh yeah, I will do a little drama in myself.
Yeah.
Not with the person, but with the situation.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do, Alice?
That's a good quality, I think, because I was about to ask, okay, so sometimes we try to analyze ourselves. Oh, some parts must be wrong with myself, but what about other people? Like maybe sometimes it's the other people's fault. And so, like, how do you deal with that, you know?
Yeah, I try to not to go in they are right and I'm wrong, or they are wrong and I'm right. Of course, dealing with narcissistic personalities, sometimes I just avoid them because I know that I don't want to deal with them. You not always can avoid them, because if they are colleagues or whatever, you cannot avoid them, right? So it is dealing differently with them. Yeah, but it's not thinking that much anymore from they are wrong and I am right. It's just by observing and trying not to be unstable about their behavior. That's it. Yeah, of course. Again, some people trigger me, right? But then it's okay. Then I say, then it's also already the acceptance that you know that you get triggered. It's already a first step, because it's calming you down. It's knowing from, okay, it's fine. I'm not perfect. I get triggered from it. Okay, acceptance. And the moment you already accept, you're going to reduce your stress, because you go already in the positivity, because accepting is a positive emotion. So the moment the moment you choose for a positive emotion, you're gonna decrease the stress.
Exactly. And it's like in your slides, you share with us, like people cannot drive you crazy unless you give them keys. So like how you react is really good quality. And I want to share with you guys, like 1.5 weeks ago in Turkey, I'm located in Istanbul, and there was an earthquake, maybe impact.
Oh yeah. Yes,
and that moment, that day is a holiday in Turkey, the Children's Day, and I was at home resting, and suddenly I see like my wardrobe was swaying. Like, okay, what's going on? You know, like at that moment, what is going on? And then I think it's an earthquake, yeah. And at the same time, I see my phone says it is an earthquake. That time they didn't say 6.2; they say it's 5.8. I see. Okay, now it's earthquake. What I gonna do? I was like quite calm, you know. And then I see, okay, it stopped. Okay, it stopped. Then what I gonna do? Like, and then I see all my neighbors, they run outside and they're they're in the street standing. And then I see, okay, it's finished. Should I go out or not? You know, I do slowly go outside. And then my neighbor says, you should stay outside like 2 or 3 hours, go home. And then later on I figure out, oh, I didn't wear enough clothes. I should wear a coat, and then I come back home and take my clothes and go to a cafe, sit. But some of the people's reaction was they are shaking, you know, they're emotionally crying, or people decide not coming home for that night. They grab their camp and they leave outside, or they directly run out of from Istanbul, go to another city like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was pretty calm that moment.
Yeah. I mean, one last tip which I give. I mean, since I work quite deep on my personal development, one thing which I'm not looking and watching anymore is horror movies or thrillers or something like that, because in your brain you're capturing this.
Yeah.
And I find it sometimes interesting in Facebook. I just see a man laying in the pool, and then I'm looking at the comments and then say, oh my God, this is like in this movie, and oh my God, this is like in that movie. And I'm thinking I just saw a man laying in a pool. I did not have this connection with this is horror movie A or B, right? And why I'm telling you that, because you say from Alice what you say, if you would like always look at earthquake movies and the consequences of earthquake movies, the moment you feel in an earthquake movie, of course, all those images will come in your brain. And of course, you will feel it differently because you have another perception of the earthquake. Right? So the more you adapt and you bring in negative energy, the more you also react, of course, negatively. Right? I'm not saying I'm only looking romantic and happy, and I'm not saying that as well, but I try to avoid all this kind of bloody, blood things and all this kind of things, because it's actually not good for the brains, right? There is a reason why they say 16 plus, right? So, yeah.
That's a great point, Pascal, because in Toastmaster, we have the tendency to take roles or even doing projects that we feel comfortable with, because it's a familiar place where our brains can develop what we like. However, when you do things that you feel uncomfortable, like improv Toastmaster, improv table topics, or even projects with other people from different places, and you push that uncomfortable boundary, when the earthquake, like it happens to Alice, came by to your house, you manage it totally different. That's what I would love for many of the public speakers who are focusing in PR. If you want to really push forward to be a good communicator, push forward to communicate. And even though try to use in a structure like the sandwich that you mentioned, state facts, say your feelings, they relate to the relationship that you have with the person. Is my colleague from the same club, or is my division director? And then call to action. That's great, because on that relationship, like you mentioned, Pascal, the triggers will be there. And if we call triggers in a funny way, we can say that triggers are our nemesis. They call our attention to fix it. Because I'm the oldest, for example, I'm the oldest of 3 brothers. I always have to do things for them. I defend them, I cook for them. It was part of my life. When somebody, and it happens here in Toastmasters, try to bully somebody or call them a little rude, I go fully tiger. I go fully tiger. And I found myself typing a message to the person. And at some point I says, Nestor, you need to cool down. This is not, they're not your brothers. They're not against that person. That person can defend themselves. Cool down, relax. So triggers are very interesting because they reflect on what you need to improve. And if you practice that in Toastmaster, oh God, for 120 a year, it's quite cheap, believe me.
Oh yes, it is. Yeah.
Ipek, do you have some other questions or intrigues that you have? Then we pass through Jafit, and then we jump to Katya, and then we can a little bit wrap up because it's a little bit over the hour. Ipek, tell us something.
Maybe I can have a few comments, starting from your comments. I mean, I actually reflected on my leadership this year. And I think it's similar what you've said before, because you mentioned that, okay, I'm in Toastmasters, but I can feel like I'm the leader of my family, let's say. I mean, I feel the same dynamic in my Toastmasters journey, because this year I've been a president of a club. And when I'm thinking about some of my interactions, I mean, I felt that okay, I'm like this club is like my family because in my family, I'm like the leader of my family. Although I'm the youngest person in my family. I mean, I even position myself somehow. Actually, I'm positioned maybe, but it's like I'm positioned myself as the leader of my mother and father sometimes. I'm the mediator of my family, let's say. So me when I think about some interactions during my club, I mean, I reflected on this and I thought that okay, but these people are not my family, so maybe I shouldn't be that much maybe confident with myself because I'm real confident with myself when I'm in family because I know everything about people. So yeah, I had this like how can I say self-reflection, maybe self-criticism, I don't know, but I recently thought this. Apart from it, I mean, Alice actually made this comment previously about okay, so like we can use those sentences like facts, emotion, call to action, like combination, really nice. But like, why do we bother sometimes, right? Because Alice mentioned that. Um, Actually, recently we discussed this in another training outside Toastmasters. So I attended this training, specialized psychologists and women rights, and we had this topic on violence and couple therapy related issues, and we have some scenarios there, and some scenarios can be really like harsh and aggressive, and statements are like that. But for some other scenarios, we may have this really neat, neutral, and just like we discussed in this training. And psychologists, therapists, I mean, people want to hear such sentences out of us, and I'm really aware of it. And but like even our trainer, she she told us that okay, maybe these sentences can seem too neutral for us, right? And I said that okay, but people expect us those scenarios from out of us because we encourage people to reflect their own, facts, feelings in a really neat and how can I say neutral manner. But I found out that I mean even psychologists can found those statements a bit maybe artificial, let's say, for some cases. But I don't know. I mean, it's really. But I agree with Pascal in that manner because even for marriage, we have these conflicts, and even we know this man or woman, this partner. I mean, it would be better maybe to use those maybe neutral phrases in the most maybe convenient way, in the most maybe we can adapt our own languages between us, right? Because we can have our own languages between people, between couple. So I thought about those instances. Thank you so much, Pascal.
Super, super.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Ipek. You mentioned two things, that if you are in a deeper relationship with a person, you can shorter up the conversation and use that relationship to go directly to the action, right? But if you have a person that you are in a more broader relationship, you can use the sandwich to get there and avoid the trigger. That's one of the things. Is that what you understood as well, Pascal?
This is well, what you say is on a certain way correct. Again, it's a broad topic, right? Because it really depends on the situation how you react the best. Of course, it's like a bit like giving feedback, right? If the problem is that conflict, quite often we go in the you form. You do this, you did that. So it's about blaming each other instead of I see this and I see that, right? And I'm not saying if you do I see this and I see that, then the conflict is done. But it's definitely not going to help if you say you are always like this and you are this and you are that, because then you're actually making conflict worse. Again, there, quite often in conflict, it's about not being hurt. So hurt that they listen, right? So actually, people are very simple on one hand. Humans are simple because we want to be recognized, we want to be heard, we want to be understood. And the moment we work on those levels, then you have much less conflicts, because conflicts always are on that level. Even if it's about the dishwasher where a mug is still on the table, right? It's about respect, it's about not being hurt, not being valued, this and that, right? So it quite often goes in the same direction, right? So how to react, this is really depending the situation. Yeah. And sometimes you need to be harsh, but harsh does not need to be aggressive. And this is what I mentioned with positive energy.
Yeah.
Direct means you say it from the heart, but you try to do it as positive as possible.
Perfect.
And this is something different as aggressive, right?
Yeah. So we have two tools right now. We have the tool that you mentioned, which is you choose the system of the big sandwich. Practically, I'm calling it that way because I wrote it down. Kind of, it's a sandwich for me to avoid the triggers and work with the triggers. And then we have the way of Toastmasters. It's not your speech is bad, your tone is bad, your stage presence is bad. No, I see that your stage presence could be improved. I perceive it that your voice tone could be a little higher. So that's the two perspective. And I think Jafit at this point will have something to add to this, and then we jump to Katya and we wrap up. Jafit, we have already the Pascal way, which is the big sandwich to avoid the triggers and work with the triggers. Then we have the Toastmaster way, which is my perception would feed you at some point. What else do you think?
In giving feedback, is that what you mean?
In general, about the whole thing.
The whole thing. So you mentioned nonviolent communication. There are many similarities. It's almost the same, just with different words to what Pascal was saying today, because I come from nonviolent communication. So the 4 ears would be observation, feeling, needs, and requests. So it's just different words. And the trigger is a little bit different. But then you did say it in the end, Pascal, when you answered Alice. I'm sure today was just kind of an overview. It's more like, looking when you're triggered, it's more looking at what is your feeling and what are your needs. That's for which you were triggered. But it goes deeper. As far as feedback, I don't really know how to connect that for either nonviolent communication or to what you were saying today, Pascal, because I think it's different, but should be said in a positive and so positive language, and to focus on to say that's what I see and what is there to improve. So quite like what the Toastmastery way that they teach us, I find it quite well, although I have seen people getting hurt by it still. Maybe because the tone was harsh, maybe because the person was just starting out. I was witness to a evaluation of an icebreaker that was really harsh. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that I don't know what to think about it. I think different things should be taken into consideration, not necessarily from that. And Pascal, you tell me what you think about that, but from the 4 years or even nonviolent communication, I think it's a different situation, but we definitely need to pay attention to how we say it.
Definitely. And there is even a rule in Toastmasters, normally an icebreaker, the evaluator should always be a senior evaluator, because you cannot be that harsh as you would do with someone who's in level 5, right? I mean, you cannot say from, okay, what I have seen, most of the time you were saying and you always had a blackout and this and that. I mean, yeah, that would not be like a constructive feedback. So you need to be very constructive and imagine if the person before never was on stage and is really afraid of being on stage. It's already amazing that this person can speak for 5 minutes, right? Without having a blackout. So
I think the problem is that many times we don't know the person.
Exactly.
So the person could be really great on stage, even though it's the first time, and have really self-confidence, and sometimes we don't know what's behind. That's the problem in communication. We don't know what's behind.
Yeah. Yes, and it's and again, everyone takes feedback also differently, right? You have people who cannot, they say, give me feedback, but they don't want to hear constructive feedback, right? Even if you are as constructive possible, they still see it as an attack. Because again, this is then their behavior pattern, because maybe the parent always said, you need to be the best and you need to be this and you need to be that. And you only word something if you achieve things. So with this, if you say to the person from there is a possibility for improvement, they see that as a huge attack, right? But then it's not your fault. Again, it's about action reaction. Then you do your best, and if you give constructive feedback and someone cannot can handle it, sometimes it happens that members after a short time they leave because they cannot handle the feedback, right? Yeah.
I agree completely with Pascal. Some of the elements that helps member retention is to not only give them the feedback of you are not amazing on the stage. That's not even a way. You need to rephrase that. The other thing is pay attention, like Jafit mentioned. What is the relationship that you have with that person? Don't treat it like it's your brother or your best friend. Be respectful. Have a touch. Identify, have empathy with that person. So put your feet in that shoes of the other person. At least try it. Do the exercise. Then your feedback or even the communication in general, emails, face-to-face, will become a little smoother. In that sense, I think I will jump to Katya because she's getting ready. I see a lot of movement in your camera, Katya. Katya, tell us.
Yes, I'd like to add something about feedback because this is something that engaged me so much. Actually, in Toastmasters, feedback should be positive because with positiveness, we boost the confidence. And when you want to learn in terms of public speaking, you have to be confident to stay on stage. That's the reason why positive feedback are so important, also for public speaking, especially. And the other point is that we are giving points of improvement to improve competence. So confidence and competence. And we are here to grow, right? From professional, personal life, into Toastmasters, and we grow through some suggestions. This is the reason why when you are giving a feedback, for me, what is really important is that you are giving a present. So think about something that for the speaker is really, really important to know, is an added value, is something that he can appreciate in order to be emotion and also engaged to be better next time. That's the key in my opinion. Always positive and some points of improvement. That's the reason why when you have an icebreaker, positive. So it's so difficult, especially at the beginning. Notice where we are good. I mean, for me, it was impossible. I think that I did a drama the first time, but for the others, I was okay. I say, oh, I was not aware about that. So this is so important. So always positive and some suggestion. Also, if you are an icebreaker, also if you are a guest during the first time table talk, some suggestions. So, for example, you can, use more something. Or I appreciate that. That this is so important because I felt, but you can try to do something different. Always give some suggestion because when you are looking for something for the speaker, it's a big effort that you are doing in yourself. And this is something that the speaker should appreciate because you are working for him. So we are a team. We grow. I mean, we give feedback in order to allow the speaker to be a better person after our feedback. So maybe if we are focused on that, I think that our feedback will be very effective.
That's great. That's great. I would translate some of the things that Katya says. Don't be egoistic. Don't be show off. Don't be a person who wants to, oh my God, I want to be visible. Don't showcase how many years you have in Toastmaster. Choose the person that you're going to do the feedback. If it's a new person, you cannot be that. If it's a friend who's have experience in Toastmaster, they can get that type of feedback. That's the raw way, I would say it. I'm a little bit in that way raw. But because I received some people feedback who they're not giving feedback. They're showcasing how great they are.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Do feedback, really. If you're not capable to detach yourself from the feedback, you're not ready to do feedback to a person who's basic. You will discourage that person. I think this is amazing when you give feedback and it's truly good. I think you move the feet too much, but your tone, it's amazing. I really like that. If that's your feedback, stay there. Positive is the best way to jump in. Everybody wins. I think that's great. Pascal, we are a little bit over time, even though that nobody's taking money from us at this point. Pascal, do you have any last remarks so I can do the conclusion and close the session? And I really love the interaction for the 5 of you.
Yeah, I'm happy for the exchange because that's why workshop lives, right? And yeah, the only remark I have is behavior patterns and belief systems is really something which is deep in us, and if you work on those, then miracle happens, and you're suddenly another person, and this is beautiful. And only we are in charge of that, right? So. It's about going away from blaming and being victim mode into taking action for your own behavior. That's it. And also be gentle with yourself, because don't expect that you need to change in 1 week, step by step. And if you compare, then only compare with yourself, how you were a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, and compare with that and see how you evaluated there, how you grew there, because comparing with someone else doesn't make sense, because everyone has his own journey. You can learn from someone else, yes, but you shouldn't compare and then be in the drama mode again from why I'm not there yet and why this and that, because that doesn't bring you further. It's about comparing with yourself where you already have grown.
Amazing, Pascal. Amazing, amazing. Thank you very much, all of you. For closing the video, we learned that stating your facts in your communications is the first step for communication. The second is said what you want. The third, evaluate the relationship that you have with the person you're communicating with. And then make a call to action, make it clear, and then be aware of the triggers between that conversation, that relationship, that communication, because that will guide what will be next. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Alice. Appreciate it, Ipek. Thank you, Jafit. Thank you, Katya. Amazing,
Thank you.
Pascal.
Thank you,
Thank you
Pascal.
all. Have a nice day, have a nice evening, weekend, long weekend, whatever you hear it, morning, noon, afternoon, night. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you all.